Hello! If you're new here, hi, I'm Amelia Laura and I'm a book nerd, a book dragon, and hopefully, possibly, in the not so far future, a writer. Welcome to my secret, not so secret library. Today I'm going to be reorganizing all of this mess and also that is even messier. It's just got so many things and I just don't have the space for them, and these aren't even all of the books that I own. I counted them the other day and they were close to 300 I believe, but today I'm gonna count them all again. Hi, it's Amelia, but a few days later. I counted the videos today off camera because I forgot. And they are 247 only books, but counting comic books, it's 303. I think you have to have 1,000 books for it to be considered a library. Life goals, to be honest. For example, you guys are standing on a huge pile of books, and then I have more books up there. I do reorganize my bookshelf at least once a month, but then I get new books and then I take them out and I read them or reread them and then put them in, and it's a mess again. 4 videos in, we're 12 subscribers, half of them being my family, but still, it's almost my lucky number, 13. So we're only 1 subscriber away to being on my lucky numbers. You might be that subscriber. So if you have watched some of my videos, welcome back. I know it looks so messy, but I am not a type A girl. Let's begin. Hello, it's editor Amelia again, and here I'm going to bring you with me around my bookshelf. Here in the top I have a mix of dystopian and some comics, plus a random Jane Austen book. Next I have again with no order, a couple of classics plus Twilight and a few others. Then more classicals and dark academia and romance. Then we find some order in fantasy/romantasy books over here, but then a bunch of classics again. Also, my actor books are not here since I gave them to my cousin so she can read them, but once I get them back, they will take the place of The Cruel Prince, which is the trilogy she gave me to read. Also, you can see how pretty Akamak looks. I painted it. Then we have more fantasy and dystopian mixed, and normally this part looks more filled, but I have to put the camera somewhere. And then here I pretty much just have CDs and comics and mangas. Is that the word in English? And a bunch of language books. So the first thing I did was just to take away all the little things and gadgets that I have hanging around with really no correlation with the books behind them. So I wanted to look more eye-pleasing later and not so filled with things that really have nothing to do with books. With all of the little things out, now it's time to take out all of the books so I can rearrange them. Just started. I'm already tired. My back is in pain. Okay, so it's done because the remaining shelves, I'm not going to empty them because it's going to be the same. So now comes the cleaning. I have to clean them a little bit. They're not very dirty because, as I said, I actually clean my shelves from time to time. Cleaning is done and it's time for the best part, time to organize and get all of this back inside. I think I'm gonna start with this shelf because it's the one that you see first when you come in the room, and even from the desk it's the one that is most visible in the videos, and I don't know, it's just like the main shelf for me. This one is gonna be for, as I had it before, for adult fantasy. Which is going to be basically Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros. And I don't think they're all gonna fit together because, as I said, I'm missing Akhtar because my cousin has them. So when I get them back, this is again going to get a little bit rearranged. Also, these are the Spanish books. Most of the books that I have are in Spanish, although some of them are in English. These ones are in Spanish, Trono de Cristal, and they're these very cool special editions. And I have all of them except one, Queen of Shadows, I believe is the name. I haven't read that one yet, but that's the one that I am missing on this cool edition. Instead of buying the normal one without this, they bought the English version, which is different and tinier. Queen of Shadows, the English version. I have their Queen of Nothing, but I can't find the Wicked King. I painted it myself. Look at it, so pretty. You see? The lining and tearing. That's supposed to be the sky. A special edition of Fourth Wing. Sitting in violet. Here's the map. Bookmark. Look! I know! It's Red of Violet and all of the dragons when they need the irids. I'm gonna go with this shelf and I'm going to leave that one to the classics because I have actually many classics and I haven't read all of them, but I'm very excited to. So I'm gonna put them over here. So for the classics, I have Edgar Allan Poe. This is the Max of the Red Death. And I actually have read a few of the stories in here. This is another classic. It's called Momo. It's not as old as the other classics that I own. He's also the author of The Never-Ending Story. Here I have Emma by Jane Austen. I spoke about this book on my first video actually. I said that I was reading it. I still am reading it. It's a little bit on a pause because I read the Shadow Me series in a week, which you can go and watch that video. I'm also reading The Cruel Prince trilogy. One of the other classics that I recently got is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. The original story is quite different from what the image we might have in our heads, so I'm very excited to start this one. Another two classics, one by Jane Austen. Then again, you can see that it is never the same type of editions, which by the way I didn't say, but this one is in English. I don't know if you can see. And this one is in Spanish. This is La Abadía de Northanger, so Northanger's Abbey, I'm guessing. I love this book and this edition. This is the Nutcracker, specifically from Alexandre Dumas. It is so beautiful and it has illustrations inside. I believe they are the original illustrations. It is such a beautiful book and so wonderful. And I read it before I went to see the ballet that it was a gift I made to my mom and we went together. And this is such a beautiful story and quite an easy classic to read. So I really recommend it to maybe start in the classics. Okay, another classic that I am super excited to read is The Odyssey, La Odisea. This one I have it in Spanish. Yeah, maybe I'll do a review video about it once I read it, because I haven't started it yet. They have Sense and Sensibility. This one is also in English. Another great classic that I have that I also just started, well, not just started, I actually started it on October and I didn't finish it, so I have to reread it and finish it. Dracula! It's also a special edition. It was a gift too. Most of my books are gifts. It's also in English. I'm going to show you the coolest special edition that I have of any book that I've ever owned. Then again, it was a gift. You're not ready? It's Little Women, Mujercitas. It's in Spanish. As you can see, a huge edition because it's annotated. It has annotations throughout the book and illustrations. It has real life pictures. Look at this. Look at it. This is another recopilatorio. This is a very special book because it's a compilation. That's the word that I wasn't finding. It's a compilation of stories of different authors, specifically 57. You can see here, this one is in Spanish. Now this is the last classic that I own. I'm pretty good. It's also quite a cool edition. It has like illustrations and stuff. We've got the classics shelf done for now. Let's move on to the young adult fantasy novels. They're gonna go right here below. I was missing this one. I realized that I was missing another Sarah J. Maas. So I have them all there right now, which by the way they look beautiful, but I don't have space for Actor. Maybe when I get Actor back, I'll have to take the Empyrean out and then just leave that shelf for Sarah J. Maas books. And then have another shelf for Regiaros because there's going to be 5 books. They're not gonna fit here. But as of right now, this is how it's gonna look. For the young adult fantasy novels, I'm gonna put all of Shadowhunters. And here I have the English editions. Now this is the first book I read in English. It's Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. I also have the Shadowhunter Codex. This is how obsessed I was. It's so cool! Like annotations from the characters. This was my treasure. An illustrated history of notable Shadowhunters. This one. Tiny description. German Shadowhunter. Sir Will Herondale. It's even the cats in here. This one, I started, never finished it. I also have Ghost of the Shadow Market. The Chronicles of Magnus Bane. Remember when I said all the classicals were done? No, they're not. I found the Wicked King! Wait. Well, there's no space for it. Wuthering Heights. Also a special edition, it's in English too. I know it's not a romance, I am aware that it's more of a obsession. I ran out of space for my classics. And then I also have Tales from Shakespeare. I've actually started reading this one, and there's like a compilation of stories by Shakespeare. It's also in English, by the way. I'll see later where I put these two because they don't fit. So maybe in the upper part we can continue with the classics. So moving on again with the Shadowhunter books. I have these two. I have one in Spanish, one in English. I'm gonna go and finish this shelf before I go to the lower ones. I'm gonna keep on going with young adult. I'm gonna put El Familiar. Look at this edition. I think the author is the same one as Six of Crows or something like that. Her. There I'm also going to put these 2 books. There's like folklore stories and just telling you about myths, and this is really helpful for the book I'm writing. Up there I'm also going to put Binding 13 and Keeping 13. I haven't read all of the books, but I have read those 2 and I have them in very different editions. I have the first one in the English edition. Then I have the second part, Keeping 13, in the Spanish version special edition. I actually have a colorful bookshelf. I thought I didn't, but I actually do. And this is the Spanish special edition. Look at it. It's so cool. Also, this one has drawings too. Over here. Oh, wait, let me show you this. Look at that. Now I'm going to move on to the lower shelf. So I'm going to bring you with me. I'm gonna put here the Hunger Games too. You're gonna see that I have the same editions for all of the books except for one. This is actually a very cool book that I was gifted this Christmas. It's a bunch of stories, like romance stories, and it's like a calendar. And you open one each day. More Shadowhunter books. These are comic books. So we're back up. So I put here the Crow Prince trilogy, and I'm gonna put also Percy Jackson. This is actually a very cool book that I don't know anything about, but it looks very cool. They gifted me this book, and it's supposed to be dark academia. Look, here it says. I also have this book. I haven't read it yet. I don't really know what it's about. It was a gift. This was one of the OGs. El libro del cementerio. This is a very special book. I bought this book in Edinburgh on one of the, I would say, most famous libraries. Maybe on Pinterest, on social media maybe. I'll put a video here. I went there specifically to see that library and perhaps buy a book, which I ended up doing. I bought this book from 1966, first edition. It's like a kid's story about horses. It's a very cute story that I haven't read yet, but I don't know, it feels like almost a treasure of a book. Here's a couple of essays. I don't really read essays, but I do have a couple. This one I'm reading it at the moment. It's called The Tree by John Close. And then this one is one that I adore, that I made a video about it that you can go and see if you want. It's called Big Magic, and it's an amazing book about creativity. This is the Señor de los Anillos, Lord of the Rings book series and The Hobbit, and this is a map. So I haven't even watched the movies. I don't really know, like I know the main things of the story, but I don't really know much of it. But my dad gifted me this super cool edition, so I'm going to give it a try. It's on my TBR. I used to love these books in high school. I have the first two in Spanish and the last two in English. Another classic, Nochebuena, Christmas Eve by Nikolai Gogol. This might be the cutest books I own. This is so Percy Jackson coded. I bought this in Greece, actually. I have the cards. Here's how it turned out. I'm super happy with the result. It looks so much better, and now it finally has an actual order. The first shelf is still a little bit of a mix, but it looks so much better. Then the next are pretty much for classics and romance, except for a couple of them. Then we have the romantasy shelf, aka my favorite. Then we have a shelf all for Shadowhunters. There's so many books and I don't even own them all, but they started me on fantasy and my love for reading, so there's a bunch of them. Then some dystopian like The Iconics, and one of my favorite books of all time, The Hunger Games. And I finished a little like the beginning with a mix. The other side, I pretty much left it for the comics and manga. So you reached the end of the video. I actually forgot to film the outro, so here's editor Amelia again speaking. And I actually wanted to ask you one thing before you leave this video, if you're actually here. Is anybody here actually? What are romance books recommendations you can give me? Because I've only read a couple of them, one being a gift from a friend with annotations, and the other one being Keeping 13 and Finding 13, but I am interested in reading other romance books because I don't really read romance. But if you have a favorite one, please let me know in the comments so I can read them. Thank you, bye!